I'm going to go over the homework. You had a handout yesterday. The left side was using benchmarks and the right side was using the proportions. So do me a favor, take it out, have it ready, press pause if you need to, and then press play again. So I'm going to take care of the left side first, which was using the benchmarks. Okay, so let me choose a color. Let's do purple, I think. All right, so first benchmark was first benchmark. First question said 70%, and let me write this down, 70% of 200 cats are white. Okay, so you were given this, and you could have drawn, or that was drawn for you. So we're going to label the bottom one, the bottom line percent, and the top line cat. So this is a double line, double something, double line. So zero, this is 200. At the bottom, this is 0%. This is 100%. Okay, and we're going to use benchmark. So the one benchmark we really know is the 50%. That's half. So 50% in terms of number of cats means obviously half of 200, which is 100. Okay, that helps us, the 50% benchmark helps us set up our next benchmark, which is 75%. Okay, and 75 is between 50 and 100, or right here, this line is the middle point between 100 and 200, which is 150. Okay, but we're interested in 70%. In this case, you know what? We could have done, actually we could have done another way, but let's take this one. By using this as 75%, we can estimate. That's 75, a little bit less than that right here is 70%. And just by estimating a little bit less than 150, we can call that, what do you say, 140, 145? About 140. So here's my answer. 70% of the 200 cats are white, or 140. Now, the other way we could have done this, I'm going to do it at the bottom. Okay, and we call that cats, that's 0, and percent 0, and this is 200 again, and at the bottom is 100%. And this one, because 70 is a nice number, okay, and so is 200, what we could have done is start with this 50%, which is halfway, and 50% or halfway of a 0 to 100, 200 is 100, so that's the marker, right? So now 70 is a multiple of 10. We could have broken this into 10 pieces. 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90%. And we could have done the same on top. So we could have done this into blocks of 10. Okay, each one representing 10%. So let me just make this a little better. So that's 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. Next one here was 60%, and 70% would have been right here. Now, you have 20 blocks here. This bar is cut up into 10 pieces, and there's 200 total, so this 200 divided by 10, each 10 would have been 20, because 200 divided by 10 is 10. So this would have been 20, 40, 60, 80, and we have 100, 120, ta-da, 140, 160, 180. So here, 10% is 20 cats, 20% is 40 cats, 30% is 60 cats, 40% is 80 cats, 50% is 100 cats, 60% is 120 cats, and here 70% is 140. Okay, so, oh look, we guessed, or I guessed, I'm sorry, the right number here. I estimated that 70% would have been 140, and guess what? It just came out that 70%, it's actually 140 cats. So that's one way of doing this. Okay. You know what? I'm going to do this right here on the corner here with the proportion. Okay. And proportion equal sign under okay, two ratios. This is 100. Okay. And in this problem, 70% of 200 cats, the percent always goes on top of 100. Okay. We have our second number, which is 200 cats. 200 cats is the total number of cats, and total always goes at the bottom. So, and part of these 200 cats, a certain part of these cats are white. So, here's our relationship. So, this time we're going this way. 100 times 2 is 200, so we'll apply the same factor on the top. And 70 times 2 is 140. Okay, you weren't asked to do this, but I'm showing it to you anyways. Okay. Second problem. 18% of 80 kids are twins. 18% of 80 kids. Okay, so let's use our benchmark. So here we go. Create a double line. The top line is the kids. Here is 0 kids, and we have a total of 80. Here we have percent. That's 0, and this is 100%. So I would always start with our 50% benchmark, halfway, 50%. And 50% means half of the kids, and half of 80 is 40. Okay. From 50, and again, in this case, if you did the 25%, I don't know if that's going to help us, but we can do 10%. We can break this whole thing into 10 parts again, just like we did in the previous problem. And 80 is a nice number. So we get 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, and 100%. So let's break this whole thing in tens. Okay, and see what equivalent. So here's 10%. How much would 10% be? So if I have 80 kids, and each section over here, I have 10 sections, 10 equal sections, I should say. Every section here, 80 divided by 10, which is what I broke this whole bar into, by 10 pieces, so that each one is 8. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. So 10% means 8 kids, 20% means 16 kids, 30% means 34 kids, etc., etc. Okay? So we want 18. 18, and I'm changing colors over here. It's right a little bit, obviously, less than 20. So we can sort of estimate. If 20% means 16 kids, 18, which is just a little less, would be a little bit less than 16 kids, say about 14 kids. Right here, a little less than 16. 14, maybe 15, give or take 1 or 2. I would take that. 14 or even 15 kids. Okay? So that's a estimate. Okay? Yeah, that's that. Next one. 65 out of 130 adults are married. So 65 out of 130. Okay, let's try doing our little bar. This is our percent. The top line are the adults. Okay. Now, talk about easy number. This is 0%. This is 100%. This is 0 adults and 130 adults. So, start with our benchmark 50%. Okay, so we can say 50% of the adults are married. That would mean what? 50% would be half, and half of 130 actually is 65. So this one was pretty easy enough. So 50% 65 out of 130 actually means 50%. So if you had 130 adults in the room, 65 of them were married, that would be, another way of saying that would be that 50% are married. The way of thinking about this is you had 130 questions on the test. You got 65 of them correct. You got a 50%. Not a great score, but so it is. Next one, 90 out of, whoa. Here we go. Let's try again. 90 out of 500 singers are kids. Here's our percent, 0%, 100%. And we have 500 kids over here and 0 kids. All right, kids on top line and percent at the bottom line. Okay, so 90 out of 100. Let's start with what we know. So 100% would be 500 kids, but half of that, which is 50%, and 50% means 250 kids. All right, so that still doesn't get us close to our answer. So let's see which benchmark we can use. We can use the 10%. We can cut everything in 10%. We can cut this into 10 and use 10%. That's probably going to be a better choice for us. So let's cut this into 10 pieces. That's 10%. That's 20. That's 30. That's 40%. 50. 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%. So I'll just write a few. 10%, 20%, here, 80%, 90%. So we have a bar that represents 500, and if we cut it up into 10 equal pieces, each section of this bar, each section over here, would be 500 divided by 10, so each would be 50. So this would be 50. So 10% would be 50, 20% would be 100, 30% would be 150, and so forth and so forth. We don't have to do the rest. So here's 100, and the number we're looking for is 90. It says 90 out of 500. So 90, and I change colors, will be a little less than 100, somewhere around here, and a little less than 20%. So if this is 90 and you drop a line down here, that looks to me like about, what, 18%? Somewhere around there. Okay, so if you had 500 questions on the test and you got 90 correct, it would give you about 18% on Scheduler. Okay? You know what? Let's double check that because I'm curious. So let's use a proportion. And let's say it's, this is what we start with, 100. Okay? And we want the percent. So this one is a spot that's going to be a question mark because that's the number we're looking for. 90 out of 100. 90 is the part that you got correct. 500 is the total. This one's going to work out nicely. Look at the relationship between 500 and 100. From here to here. I'm sorry, let's go the other way. From 500 to 100 is divide by 5. And from 90 to our mystery number is going to be also divide by 5. And 90 divided by 5 is it's actually 18%. So, in this case, 90 out of 500 singers. So if you had 500 singers in the auditorium and 90 of them were kids, you can say 18% are kids. Okay, so, wow, we used a proportion here to double check our answer. Okay, it should have been very similar, and I guessed 18%, and it actually just happened to be that it is 18%. Okay. Next one is 20 out of 200. 20 out of 200. So I wrote 20 out of 200 books are fiction. Wow, talk about easy numbers. So, again, here is our percent. This is our books. 0 books, 200 books, 0%, 100%. Halfway mark is right here, 50%. And 50% of all the books would give me 100 books. I I should have used different numbers. These are way too easy. But nevertheless, okay, again, do I want to use 25% as my other benchmark? No, I wanted to use 10%. Okay, I'm going to again do this in tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Only because the numbers are nice. So that's 10%. That's 20%. So if you had this whole thing and you broke it up into 10 pieces, you had the total was 200, and you're dividing 200 into 10 pieces would be 200 divided by 10 is 20. So each of these sections would be 20, 40, 60. So each of these is worth 20. And 20 out of 200, here's our 20, right here, and I'll circle it, corresponds to 10%. So 20 out of 200 means 10%. Okay? Last one, 60 out of 60. Ooh. 60% of 60 pencils have erasers. 60% of 60 pencils. So here's our bar that I use to represent. These are the pencils. This is the percent. 0 pencils, 60 pencils over here. 0%, 100%. So let's use our bench. I should always start with 50%. So 50% would be the halfway mark, and 50% or halfway of 60 is 30. Okay. Gee, if all these numbers are this easy, you can always, you can actually use the 10% benchmarks. But you know what? Let me do the 25. This is 25%. 25 is the halfway between 0 and 30. That's 15. That's not going to help us. Let's try 75%, which is on this side. And 75% is halfway between 30 and 60, which is 45. That still doesn't help us. See, 75 is a little bit too far. I know that 60 is somewhere over here. Okay, but I could have done this. I could have done a better job at this by using the 10% benchmark. So let me lower this, and you'll see what I mean by that. So let's do that again. Okay, 60 pencils, 100%. 100%. Here is 0. Here is 0 again. This is pencils. This is percent. And here's my halfway mark. So this is 50%. I'm going to change color. And this is 30 right here. Now, again, because my numbers are really, really nice, it's worth it for me to break it into 10. 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So this is 10%, 20%, 30%. That's 60% over here, 70%. And 60% right here is what we're interested in. So let's break the top part into 10 pieces again. Okay, here's my 10%, okay, 20, my 30, my 40, my 50%, which is the halfway mark. So if you had something that is 60 and is broken into 10 pieces, 60 divided by 10 would give you 6. So each piece is worth 6. This is 6. Another 6 would be 12. Another 6 would be 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. So 60%, which is what the original question was, 60% means 36 pencils. Okay, so 36 pencils have erasers out of 60. Okay, so that's the right side, left side. Let's do the right side. First one, Tina got 8 questions out of 20 correct. Okay, so here, I'll do it here on this side. What percent does she want? So here is your percent proportion. This is your initial setup. Percent is what they're asking for, so this is our number that we have to guess. And the other part of the question says 8 questions out of 20 correct. So 8 is the part that she got correct, and 20 was a total amount of questions. So find a relationship. 20 to 100 is times 5. And obviously you have to apply the same on top. 8 times 5, which gives you 40. So Tina got 8 questions correct. What percent she got? She got 40% correct. Okay. Bobby made 24 out of 25 free throws. It's pretty good. So again, what percent is that? So somebody who makes 24 out of 25 free throws. Start the same way. 100 here. What percent did he make? So this is the number that we want, our mystery number. And 24 out of 25. 24 is the part that he made. 25 is the total. Look at the relationship. Times 4. So obviously on the top is times 4, which gives you 96%. So Bobby made 96% of his free throws. Okay. Or you want to think about test. 25 questions, you got 24 correct. You got 96% on your test. Okay. Next one, 80% of 400 people are going on vacation. So 80% of 400 people are going on vacation. 80% of 400 people. So here's how we start this. 100. In this one, you're given the percent. So 80% goes here. All right. And we have another number out of 400. So 80% of the 400. So there's a group of 400 people. So that's the total of 400 people, and total goes at the bottom. So what part of this 400 people are going on vacation? So our mystery number is now this guy. So look for relationship, and this time we're going that way. 100 to go to 400 is times 4. And obviously you're going to multiply that times 4. And 80 times 4 is 320. So 320 people are going on vacation. So if there are 400 people, 320 are going on vacation. 320 people are going on vacation. Okay, so that's that one. Change colors. 72% of the 50 love cafeteria food. All right, so that's what you start. 72%, you're given the percent, so we can fill this area here. So 72% of the 50. So there's a group of 50 kids downstairs, and a part of them likes cafeteria food. So 50 is the total number of kids downstairs, and a part of them, which is this number right here, is what we want. Okay, looking at relationships, we're going this way this time. 100 to become 50 is divide by 2. So therefore, we divide the top by 2 again. And 72 divided by 2 is 36. So if there were a group of 50 kids downstairs, 36 love cafeteria food. Cafeteria food. I also like cafeteria food. Okay, that was that. 90 people out of the 150 at the show pay double the price. Okay. So let's see what information we have. So here's our setup. 2 ratios. And it says 90 people out of 150. So 90 people is the part. Out of what? Out of 150. Paid double the price. So we're trying to find out what percent paid double the price. 90 out of 150 is a big chunk, so you know it's going to be a relatively big percent. So this one, there's no relationship really between 150 going to 100. So remember what we did in class. We can change things. Okay, so this guy right here, it's not really working for us. So Let me take 90 over 150. You can simplify or you can amplify. If I simplify this, let's see, if I divide this by 2 and divide bottom by 2, I get 45 over 75. And if I put this guy over here, do you see a relationship between 75 and 100? Not really. So this might not be a simplified case, but an amplified one. What if I made it bigger? 90 times 2 is 180, and 150 times 2 is 300. Look at my bottom number. It's 300. You can see that there's a relationship. So let me copy that on the top. So I'm going to use a bigger fraction. 180 over 300. There is a direct relationship between 300 and 100. From 300 to 100 is divide by 2. And obviously, 180 is also divide by 2, giving me... I'm sorry, it's not divide by 2, it's divide by 3. Sorry. 300 divided by 3 is 100, so the top is 180 divided by 3, which is 60. Okay, so 60% paid double the price. Alright, so this was one of those cases where you, by changing the fraction, not by simplifying, but making it bigger, was a better choice. Last question. 14 out of 40 dogs are female. 14 out of 40 dogs, okay. So 14 is part, 40 dogs. 100 we already had, so obviously this question we're missing the percent. So 40 to 100. Nothing happening here. Not a whole number I can multiply by 40 to get 100. I can multiply 2.5, but you know, I don't want you to work with decimals, not yet. So that's not going to work. So let's take 14 and over 40 and see what we can do. So let's divide that. Let's try simplifying. If I divide top and bottom by 2, I get 70 over 20. Oh, that's a better number. So let me copy this again. So here's my 100. My percent, which I need to find. And instead of writing 14 over 40, I'm going to write 7 over 20. Now, things are a little bit easier. So 20 to 100 is times 5. And 7 to our mystery number is also times 5, giving us 35. So the answer is 35% of the dogs are female. So think about it. If you had 20 questions on the test and you only got 7 correct, that's pretty bad. That would be 35%. Okay? So that's your homework that you've done. So we just went over it. And it should have been very easy. Okay? And that's that.